In today's video, I'm going to show you how to go from this to this. If you want to follow along with me, I put the same image I'm going to be working on in the description box. Alright, so let me delete this and let's talk about, what is frequency separation besides a mouthful? Well, it's a technique that allows you to do a few things like removing shadows and blending skin tones together. It's a real game changer, and it's not as hard as it is to say as it is to do. So before we can get our hands dirty, we need to make a few copies of the original image. So go ahead and select it and press Ctrl or Command J. We're going to do this twice. And then after that, we're going to select our other copy and press Ctrl or Command G. And this is going to make them in a group, or put them in a group. So whenever we do any work within our group, we can just click on these eyeballs and anything that's there will just be toggled on and off and it'll go away. So it's kind of like whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. And before we do any more, go any further, we're going to go ahead and rename some stuff just to be nice and orderly. So we're going to name layer 1 to low layer and layer 1 copy to high layer. And we'll go ahead and rename the group to FS, which will just be frequency separation, since that's what we're doing here. Then go to your high layer, toggle that on, and you're probably like, whoa, where'd my blur go? Don't worry, we're gonna get to that. Make sure you select your high layer, go up here to image, then apply image. By default, yours isn't gonna actually look like this. It's gonna look more like this. Not what we want. We want what I had before. So go up to here where it says layer, merged, click merged, and then low layer. And this is just saying, hey, apply to this layer right here. We're gonna click on the blending multiply and we're gonna go down to subtract. And it's gonna look like a high pass layer. Turn that on and off. Here she is. Whoa, I don't know what that is. And we're gonna click scale, change that to 2, and offset to 128. Click OK, and we're almost done here. We're gonna go right here to normal and down here to linear light, and go ahead and toggle that eyeball on and off. And it's like, whoa, I didn't even do anything. When are we gonna do the work? Don't worry, because this is the part where we get to see what frequency separation can actually do. Press L for the lasso tool and go up here to where it says feather. And let's just try 7. I already have it set to 7, and if yours isn't, just go ahead and put it there. For a headshot, I would try to go between 10 and 15, and for a half body or more than that, a full body, I might be around 7, a lower number. It's all about preference, so that's why I'm gonna go ahead and just choose 7. Alright, so we're gonna go in here, and let's just pick a portion of the skin that we want to try this out on. I'm gonna try right here. And something important to know is when you're doing this, you don't select the whole face. It doesn't work like that. You wanna select small portions, small pieces. So we're gonna go up here to filter, and we're not gonna go to dust and scratches this time. We're gonna go down to blur and Gaussian blur. So you remember how we were doing this before where we chose 10 at the start for the dust and scratches? We're gonna try 10 for Gaussian blur. Generally, rule of thumb is whatever I do with my dust and scratches, I want to do the same thing with the radius for my Gaussian blur. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. And now we have these marching ants in our way and we want to see what we've done. You can make a new selection, or you can press Ctrl or Command D, and that will get rid of the ants for yourself, or for you. So let's go ahead and toggle the eyeball and see what's happening. So that was just one little selection, and that's already a lot. That's already pretty big. And we're gonna go ahead and go over here, and we're gonna go ahead and get all of this. Boom, new marching ants. And instead of going up in the menu, we're gonna do a really awesome shortcut. So we're gonna press Control or Command, and then Alt or Option, and then F. Now that was a lot, but it's just 3 keys, and it applies the last filter that you just did. So instead of going up here into the menu every single time and doing all of that, you don't have to do that. So now you can do this so much faster. So we're gonna go ahead and hide these ants, and let's just see what we did. That's doing quite a lot. And we're gonna go over here and we're gonna get this bag and we're gonna just hit that. And if you press Control or Command F by mistake, you'll get the search. So if you wanted to search up one of your PSDs or something like that, or you wanted to search how to do something on Photoshop, this is pretty great. But we don't want to see that right now. So we're gonna go ahead and toggle the eyeball on and off just to see what we're doing, and it's doing so much. And you're probably wondering, well, why didn't he do all of this at once? What our frequency separation is doing, right, is getting everything within the selection and kind of like finding a middle ground and really kind of like mixing, and it's making that portion of the image look a little bit cleaner, blending the skin tones together. So the bigger you go, the less or more dramatic sometimes you can get. You can really play around with it. Like for instance, let's go over here and just do something crazy. So you're probably thinking, hey, that kind of works. Not so much, because you're removing some highlight here. And that's not what we want to do. We don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and press Control or Command plus Alt or Option and then Z. And we don't want to see that. We don't want to, yeah, there we go. We want to undo that because we were also removing the highlight here. That's not a good thing. So you generally just want to remove the shadows and things like that. And here's also another trouble area right under the lips. A lot of times the lip will cast a shadow and you don't want to remove it entirely, but you don't want it to look dark. You don't want it to look as dark as what I had before. And the great thing about Photoshop is there's a million ways to do everything, and to get to the end result, that's all about your personal opinion. So what I think is too far or just right isn't the same for you. And I'm gonna go ahead over here and I'm gonna hit this portion around the nose, because I think that area, that shadow right there, I think it's a little harsh. I think it's a little too distracting because it's really dark. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go all over the face. And you just want to select little portions like this, and you want to press those keys I was telling you about before to make it way faster and way smoother. And I'm just gonna do the whole head for the most part. I'm not gonna touch the hair and stuff like that. This is just the skin specifically. And a lot of times you would actually want to go ahead and do the whole body, but for the sake of this tutorial, we're just gonna do the head. And make sure you're always toggling your groups on and off so you can see what you're doing, and don't just look at it up close. You want to look at it from a decent distance away. Even from this far away, I can tell that I'm really doing something here, and that's good. You always want to know you're doing something. So just keep going in here and smoothing out things. And I don't like to mess with the makeup too much. I like to leave that as is. That might not be your style, but it's my style. And you'll notice right here, I got too close to the eyebrow, so it started to blend the eyebrow into the skin, and you don't want that. So you want to go ahead and undo stuff like that. Because you do want to get close, but you don't want to get too close. And we're going to go ahead and just keep applying this all over. And really, you can go as far as you want, but generally the areas that I would say you need to go around and hit for the most part would be stuff like around the bridge of the nose, close to the eyes. Because let's look at mine. There's some hard shadows in here that could be a little nicer. You have bags under the eyes. You have this shadow of the nose that you have a shadow that the nose will cast, and you usually will have something underneath the bottom lip. Now it depends on your image. You might have more, you might have less. This is done in natural light, no flash, none of that. And just go to your heart's content. Try not to go overboard with it, but it's all a work in progress. Oh, I forgot to turn that on. There we go. And I think we're done. Always make sure you're zooming in and out at different, zooms just to see what it looks like. Just to see what you're doing. Maybe come all the way out to the full zoom, turn it on and off, and that's frequency separation. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like. If you have any questions, drop a comment. I'll get to you as soon as I can. And make sure to subscribe because you want to see more of this good stuff, right? Of course you do.